Hello there, welcome to News Tonight on Rajya Sabha television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. India recorded the biggest single-day jump of 445 deaths on Sunday, taking country's death count to 13,699. This amid a rapid rise in new infections, taking the country's COVID-19 infections tally to more than 4.25 lakh. All the updates on the coronavirus pandemic situation along our borders and much more coming up ahead. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is on a 3-day visit to Russia to attend the Victory Parade in Moscow on 24th of June. The visit is aimed at boosting defence ties between the two countries. Here is a report taking a look at the strategic and defence relations between India and Russia.
Leaving on his 3-day visit to Russia, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh called it an opportunity to deepen the India-Russia defence and strategic partnership. Rajnath Singh is attending the 75th Victory Day Parade in Moscow along with Russian Defence Minister Sergei Shoigu. The Victory Parade that was to be held on the 9th of May was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Ministry of Defence said the visit will strengthen the long-standing, special and privileged strategic partnership between India and Russia. In recent years, India-Russia military technical cooperation has evolved from a buyer-seller framework into one involving joint research, development and production of advanced defence technologies and systems. The BrahMos missile system, licensed production in India of Su-30 aircraft and T-90 tanks are examples of India-Russia defence cooperation. At the annual bilateral summit in Vladivostok in September 2019, both countries agreed to cooperate on the production of spare parts for Russian-Soviet military equipment. In March 2019, Prime Minister Modi had announced a joint venture, Indo-Russian Rifles Private Limited, to produce AK series assault rifles at the Ordnance Factory Korva under the Make in India program. In October 2016, both sides announced an agreement on the supply of S-400 air defense system from Russia to India. Both countries also have agreements on construction of frigates and joint venture to manufacture Ka-226T helicopters in India. Ahead of the Defence Minister's visit, a tri-service 75-member Indian military contingent reached Moscow to take part in the Victory Parade. Both countries have held several joint military exercises. The first ever tri-services exercise, Indra 2017, was held in Vladivostok from October 19 to 29, 2017. In December 2018, bilateral Russian-Indian naval exercise Indra Navy 2018 was held in the Bay of Bengal. Joint tri-services exercise Indra 2019 between India and Russia was carried out simultaneously in Babina, Pune and Goa from 10th to 19 December 2019. With input from Akhilesh Suman, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
An External Affairs Minister, S. Jaishankar, will take part in the Russia-India-China or the RIC Trilateral Foreign Ministers meeting on Tuesday. Jaishankar will interact with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi through video conferencing. The Russian media had recently quoted Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov as saying that no bilateral issues will be discussed during the RIC meet. He said the meeting will focus on the coronavirus pandemic as well as issues relating to challenges of global security and financial stability. The meeting is also expected to delve into key connectivity projects in the region, including the implementation of the 7,200-kilometer-long international North-South transport corridor linking India, Iran, Afghanistan and Central Asia with Europe. Since the meeting comes in the backdrop of a recent border clash between Chinese and Indian troops in Galwan Valley in eastern Ladakh, it will be interesting to see if China raises the issue on this forum.
While we remain firmly convinced of the need for maintenance of peace and tranquility in the border areas and the resolution of differences through dialogue, we are also strongly committed to ensuring India's sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Indian and Chinese militaries held a second round of Lieutenant General level talks on Monday in an attempt to diffuse tensions following the violent clashes in the Galwan Valley last week.
The meeting, the second one since the 6th of June, was held at Moldo on the Chinese side of Chushul sector to discuss the ongoing dispute. The Indian delegation at the talks was led by 14 Corps Commander Lieutenant General Harinder Singh, while the Chinese side was headed by the commander of the Tibet Military District. Both officers, along with their delegations, had earlier met on 6th of June, where the two sides had agreed to disengage. During Monday's meeting, the two sides deliberated on a set of confidence-building measures, including implementation of the agreement that was arrived at during their first round of meeting on 6 June before the violent face-off. The two sides have held at least 3 rounds of major general-level talks to explore ways to bring down tension at the borders since the June 15 clashes. Following the incident, the government has given the armed forces full freedom to give a befitting response to any Chinese misadventure along the 3,500-kilometer de facto border.
And BJP President JP Nadda on Monday responded to the criticism of the government by former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh and the Congress over the Ladakh standoff.
In a series of Twitter messages, Nadda accused them of insulting Indian forces, questioning their valor. He alleged that both Dr. Singh and the Congress did the same after the airstrikes and surgical strikes. Nadda urged them to understand the true meaning of national unity, especially in such times. The BJP president said Dr. Manmohan Singh's comments on Ladakh are mere wordplay, and the conduct of top Congress leaders will not make any Indian believe such statements. He also alleged that Dr. Singh was not as worried when he abjectly surrendered hundreds of square kilometers of India's land to China during his tenure. The BJP president also said India fully trusts and supports Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He said 130 crore Indians have seen Modi's administrative experience in some of the most testing times, and how he's always put the well-being of the nation over and above everything else. Nadda said, and I quote, Dr. Manmohan Singh can certainly share his wisdom on many subjects, but the responsibilities of the office of the Prime Minister is not one of them. Unquote. He also alleged that UPA personified systematic institutional erosion of that office, combined with disrespect for the armed forces. But the NDA government has reversed that. Dr. Manmohan Singh has called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the government to ensure justice for the 20 soldiers. In his remarks via a letter to the Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh said his successor must be mindful of the implication of his words and cannot allow China to use them as a vindication of its position.
In some other news, China and the European Union held their first formal talks since the outbreak of COVID-19 on Monday.
The 22nd China-European Union leaders meeting was held via video link. Earlier slated to be held in Beijing in March, it was postponed in the wake of the pandemic. Both sides sought to cool tensions at the summit after relations between the two soured following accusations by European countries that China spread disinformation about COVID-19. The two trading partners also have differences over Hong Kong and an investment pact. During Monday's video conference between European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, European Council President Charles Michel and Chinese Premier Li Keqiang, both sides reaffirmed their commitment to conclude a comprehensive bilateral investment agreement in 2020. Another round of talks will be held between Chinese President Xi Jinping and leaders of the European Union. No joint statement will be issued after the summit.
News from Jammu and Kashmir now. In the last 4 months, chiefs of 4 main terrorist outfits, Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Hizbul Mujahideen and Ansar Ghazwat-ul-Hind have been killed in Jammu and Kashmir. Stating this at a press conference on Sunday, Vijay Kumar, Kashmir Inspector General of Police, congratulated the security forces. He said it was for the first time that 4 chiefs of main terrorist outfits were killed in 4 months. Vijay Kumar also informed that in the last 2 days, 2 successful operations had been conducted. In Kulgam on Saturday, 2 terrorists were killed, while 2 others managed to escape. The other encounter took place in Srinagar's Zabidal on Sunday, where 3 terrorists were eliminated. And in more news from Jammu and Kashmir, an army Jawan was killed on Monday as Pakistani troops opened fire and lobbed mortar shells at forward areas along the line of control and the international border in Jammu and Kashmir. Heavy Pakistani firing and shelling were reported along the line of control in Poonch district's Krishna Ghati sector and Rajouri's Naushera sector, and along the international border in Kathua district. An army Jawan was killed after being hit by cross-border shelling on a forward post in Naushera sector. He is the fourth army casualty due to Pakistani firing along the LOC in Rajouri and Poonch this month. 2 soldiers were killed in Pakistani firing in Rajouri district on 4th and 10th of June, while another soldier fell to cross-border firing in Poonch on 14th of June. There has been a spurt in Pakistani shelling along the border in Jammu and Kashmir with over 2,027 cases of violation of a ceasefire agreement being reported till 10th of June. Last year saw 3,168 ceasefire violations, while 2018 had 1,629. And now an update on the COVID-19 situation in our country. Over 14,000 new COVID-19 cases were reported across the country on Sunday, the 11th day in a row when India reported over 10,000 cases. Now, according to WHO, Sunday also marked the largest single-day increase in the coronavirus cases globally, with over 1.83 lakh new cases in the last 24 hours.
14,821 people tested positive for the novel coronavirus in the last 24 hours, taking India's COVID-19 cases above 4,25,000. The casualties related to COVID-19 infection rose to 13,699, with 445 new deaths reported on Sunday. However, there was a steady improvement in the recovery rate, with 55.77% patients declared virus-free. The number of recoveries stood at 2.37 lakh. Presently, there are 1,74,000 active cases. India crossed the 4 lakh mark on Sunday, only 8 days after recording 3 lakh COVID-19 cases. The country witnessed a surge of over 2,34,000 infections from the 1st of June till the 22nd. However, the difference between the recovered patients and active COVID-19 cases also continues to widen. As of Monday, the number of recovered patients crossed the number of active patients by 62,808. The total number of samples being tested per day is also increasing. In the last 24 hours, 1,43,000 samples were tested, while the total number of samples tested thus far is over 69 lakh. Maharashtra continues to report the highest number of cases at 1,32,000, followed by Delhi and Tamil Nadu that have close to 60,000 cases each, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and West Bengal. Fresh cases from states that have less than 10,000 cases are also rising. Taking into account the 7-day moving average, Telangana is adding more than 700 cases daily, highest after hotspots like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Delhi. Neighbouring Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka are also adding 450 cases daily on an average, followed by Assam and Odisha adding 300 cases and Kerala and Bihar, which are adding 150 cases on an average daily. Goa on Monday reported its first death rate due to COVID-19. An 85-year-old man from North Goa succumbed to the infection in the hospital. Goa till now has 818 confirmed cases. Infections in the state have been steadily rising since early June. Gurugram is emerging as the worst hit district in Haryana. Delhi's satellite town has 4,427 infections out of the total 10,000 cases in the state, becoming the worst hit district in Haryana, which has a total of 10,000 cases. The district has also reported 64 deaths so far. Haryana has reported a total of 160 deaths. Even as cases rise in the country, according to the latest WHO report, India has one of the lowest cases per lakh population in spite of its high population density. Cases per lakh population are 30.04, while the global average is more than its triple at 114.67. The United States has 671.24 cases per lakh population, while Germany, Spain and Brazil have 583.88, 526.22 and 489.42 cases per lakh people respectively. India has the fourth highest number of coronavirus cases among 10 nations worst hit by coronavirus. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal says COVID-19 testing has more than tripled in the national capital. Addressing an online media briefing, Kejriwal said around 18,000 coronavirus tests are being conducted daily and around 12,000 people are under home isolation. He said that all those under home isolation will be provided pulse oximeters to measure oxygen levels every few hours.
जितने अब होम क्वारंटाइन के केसेस होंगे होम आइसोलेशन के, दिल्ली सरकार हर होम आइसोलेशन वाले केस को एक ऑक्सी पल्स मीटर देगी. आप उस पल्स मीटर को अपने घर रखिए, जब आप ठीक हो जाएं सरकार को वापस कर दीजिए 10 दिन के बाद.
With 3,000 new cases recorded for the third day in a row on Sunday, Delhi overtook Tamil Nadu to have the second highest number of coronavirus cases after Maharashtra. A little less than one-third cases were added in just the last 1 week. Home Minister Amit Shah held a meeting with Kejriwal and Lieutenant Governor Anil Bajal on Sunday, where it was decided to hold more robust contact tracing, revamp the entire containment zone strategy, and strengthen medical services in the areas most affected by the virus. And now the global update on the coronavirus pandemic, and Spain has reopened its borders to most European countries and ended a state of emergency imposed to contain the coronavirus.
Spaniards were allowed to travel freely without restrictions and enjoy beaches across the Spanish peninsula. Spain's borders are now open to all European Union countries except Portugal, as well as Schengen area members and Britain. Temperature checks, health data and information about their whereabouts in Spain is required for all arriving passengers. On Monday, France further eased coronavirus restrictions, with casinos and amusement arcades being allowed to open. Britain has also eased more restrictions. Non-essential retailers have welcomed their customers back to their stores amid new safety measures.
We're also working on an appointment-only basis, so we're not just keeping the door open for everybody to walk in. We ask that people contact us in advance, give us a time, and we'll be here to welcome them. We've got hand sanitizer. All of our staff have visors to wear, face masks, gloves while we're doing actual fittings and handling customers' clothes if necessary.
On Monday, German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas promised to support all other European nations, including Italy, to recover from the economic damage of the coronavirus crisis. He assured that making Europe strong again is the top priority for Germany when it takes over the European Council presidency in July. Serbians went to the polls on Sunday to elect a new parliament in Europe's first national election since the coronavirus outbreak. Polling stations were equipped with face masks and hand sanitizers to ensure safe voting. New York City entered phase 2 of reopening on Monday, allowing hair salons, barber shops and outdoor dining among businesses to resume operations. On Monday, Thailand began administering the second dose of its coronavirus vaccine trials on monkeys at a primate research center in Bangkok. Further, the researchers are hopeful that if the results are promising, they can begin human clinical trials by November.
The result of the first dose in monkey also very impressive in terms of at least 4 of 5 animals we are able to induce neutralizing antibody. Of course, what we really expect to see is the second dose 2 weeks after the second dose. So today is the day that we immunize the animal second dose, and after next 2 weeks, we're going to analyze the immune response once again.
In another breakthrough, German biotech firm CureVac started an experimental coronavirus vaccine trial on Monday. The trial results are expected by September or October. Meanwhile, China on Monday reported 18 new COVID-19 cases. Of the new infections, 9 cases were reported in Beijing. Beijing has expanded COVID-19 nucleic acid testing facilities and ramped up testing to up to 1 million people per day. So far, 236 people in the city have been infected in the latest outbreak. South Korea also confirmed a second wave of coronavirus infections on Monday. The clusters of new cases have grown after the country loosened restrictions in early May. Most new cases have been reported in the Seoul area, including outbreaks at nightclubs in the capital. On Sunday, South Korea reported 17 new coronavirus cases, bringing the country's total to 12,438. New Zealand has reimposed stricter quarantine measures and extended a ban on cruise ships arriving in the country after a spike in new cases. Most new cases are linked to overseas travel. New Zealand reported 2 new cases of the virus on Monday, bringing the total active cases up to 9. Globally, the pandemic has claimed over 470,000 lives and infected more than 9 million people.
And in some national news, the Supreme Court on Monday said that it would allow Puri's Rath Yatra, scheduled to start from 23rd of June, with certain precautions and safety guidelines.
The Apex Court said that it cannot micromanage the rituals and left it to the wisdom of the centre, the state and the temple management to deal with the issue. The 3-judge bench headed by CJI S.A. Bobde was informed by the Odisha government that it will coordinate with the temple management and the centre to make things smooth during the Rath Yatra. CJI Bobde also added that the state government is free to stop the festivities in case it endangers public health and safety. The Apex Court also directed the state government and the centre to work in tandem for the event. The bench was informed by the centre that the Rath Yatra can be conducted without compromising on citizens' health and with the cooperation of the state and the temple trust. The top court, however, said it is considering the issue of conducting the Rath Yatra in Puri only and not at other places in Odisha.
And Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar virtually inaugurated the India Pavilion at Cannes Film Market 2020 on Monday. Calling upon global filmmakers to shoot in India, Javadekar highlighted the government's initiative of film facilitation centres for quick clearances to shoot international films. He also informed that the Marathi movie Meghat and Gujarati movie Helaro are India's official entrants for the Cannes Film Festival this year. Javadekar also launched the poster and information booklet for the 51st International Film Festival of India. Cannes Film Festival had earlier postponed its 73rd edition of this year due to the coronavirus pandemic. CBFC Chairman Prasoon Joshi attended the inaugural session along with filmmakers Madhur Bhandarkar, Suresh Babu, Colin Burrows and actors Kangana Ranaut and Usha Jadhav, among others. The Indian Pavilion at Cannes Film Market has been jointly set up by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting and FICCI.
My appeal to the film fraternity, international film fraternity, is come, invest, shoot in India and sell in the global market as global brand. Indian content is a rich content. And in this rich content, 150 countries are using this content. Ask any OTT platforms. Their most popular programs are based on Indian content. So that's the reality and the speciality of India, which we want to harness further.
And now the weather update. And monsoon has reached most parts of the country, and in the next 48 hours it is expected to reach northwest India. After western Uttar Pradesh, Delhi is expected to receive monsoon rains by 24th of June.
Cyclonic conditions over Odisha and West Bengal are propelling southwest monsoon towards western Uttar Pradesh. Delhi NCR region, which is witnessing pre-monsoon rains, will have monsoon rains in 2 or 3 days. By June 25th, monsoon is expected to reach the Himalayan region, Haryana and Punjab. Monsoon has hit northeast India along with West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand and Odisha. Along with Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat and Maharashtra, many states of South India continue to receive good rains. The Meteorological Department has predicted heavy to very heavy rainfall in Chhattisgarh, Assam, Meghalaya, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Sikkim, Bihar and coastal Karnataka in the next 2 days.
And that's it from me and the entire team of News Tonight at the moment. Do tune in tomorrow at the same time for all the day's big stories. Take care and good night. Bye for now.
Watch